Hello and welcome to Liberty Nation's LNTV. I'm your host, Mark Angelides. Joining me today is Liberty Nation's senior political analyst, Mr. Tim Donner. Welcome, Tim.
Thanks, Mark. Good to be here.
So, Tim, we're not just talking football today. We're talking football and life lessons. In a recent article on libertynation.com, you discussed how Super Bowl star Tom Brady's story had some valuable lessons for America. Can you expand on this a little for me?
Well, there's a temptation to stop at calling him the greatest quarterback in NFL history, because he is. But he turned after this Super Bowl from the greatest quarterback in NFL history to a living legend, because what he did was sort of the fruition of everything he's been doing for years. Preparation. The guy was a low-round draft pick, not thought much of when he was drafted out of college. 197 players were drafted before him. He was an afterthought. The starting quarterback for the Patriots had just signed a 10-year contract. And then that guy suffered a near fatal injury that thrust Tom Brady into an opportunity that he was fully prepared for. There was no lag time. There was no learning curve. He took them right to the playoffs and won 3 Super Bowls. And then there's the persistence. He won 3 Super Bowls in the period of 5 years. He was a Hall of Fame quarterback by the time he was 25 years old. But then he went into a valley with no titles for 8 or 9 years. And then at age 37, he was miraculously revived to win 4 Super Bowl titles between 37 and 42. But of course, the belief in himself is greater than anything, because after the 2019 season, when his contract with the Patriots had run out, he could have retired as the greatest quarterback in NFL history. He could have taken a comfortable deal to go back to New England and spend his declining years with the Patriots, his twilight years. But he didn't do that. He took on an adventure that nobody, except maybe him, thought was going to end with the kind of success it did, which was to go to a franchise that hadn't even won a playoff game in 19 years. And he takes them with 3 victories on the road and then wipes out a team that was the defending Super Bowl champ. His persistence to come back at age 37 after did he have that much motivation? He'd already had 3 Super Bowl titles. Why put the extra effort in? Well, the discipline there, is his physical regimen, his workouts, hours long, his nutritional regimen are all the stuff of legends, as well as his playing experience. So there's so many things that can be learned from Tom Brady, the person, beyond what he is on the football field.
So there's hope for me yet, right? To become a Super Bowl legend, Tim.
As they say, Mark, where there's life, there's hope.
Absolutely. There's still a little hope then. So really, the sweeping... I want to turn this into politics, if I may. So the sweeping changes that we've seen over the last 4 years in terms of brokering peace, record low unemployment, things like this under the Trump administration, that seems to me to speak of ambition, which you talk about in your article. And now we hear from President Joe Biden that the jobs aren't likely to return until 2030. Is this what you're talking about when you say that America needs to learn some ambition from Tom Brady?
Well, yes, another one of his qualities is the enough ambition to, at age 37, with his legacy already secure, already in the Hall of Fame, not already in, but a certain lock to get into the Hall of Fame. He gets it together to put together another run of 4 more Super Bowls in his late 30s and early 40s. I mean, that's just never done. And it's unthinkable. Nobody would think that it could ever be done. But he did because of his ambition. And likewise, look at all Trump got done. And I suspect, Mark, that now that Trump, the man, is cleared away, give it a little time, and the man's record will stand as one of great ambition for the country, not for himself. He didn't need to be ambitious. He had everything in the world before he ran for president. But this administration seems to be, I would say, defined by two words: dark winter. He said it on the campaign trail, he said it in a debate, he's repeated it several times, and he's giving us a vision of doom and gloom, which, to be honest with you, Mark, I've never seen a candidate deliberately project the vision of doom and gloom during a campaign and still win the election. So Joe Biden, as in so many other ways, his election was a unique event.
That actually brings me very nicely onto my next question. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that many Western nations, or westernized nations, they're being consigned to the historical trash heap under the term managed decline. It's not even really a secret anymore. It seems that it's the populist movement worldwide that rejects this idea of managed decline, that it should be the new normal. To me, this seems like an almost brutal allegory of Tom Brady, with his inspiring rise again, refusing to bow out at 37, much like the nations that are now talking about managed decline quite openly. Your thoughts on this?
Well, I think Joe Biden's basic worldview can best be described, like I said, his view of the future, or the near future at least, can best be described by dark winter. Well, his view of the world, I think, can best be described as the new old world order. That's how I've described it on LibertyNation.com, because it looks like just a return to the very kind of international order and foreign policy that the voters roundly rejected in 2016, which apparently is okay for them again now, going back into the World Health Organization, going back into the Paris Climate Accord, all the things that Trump got out of. Now, part of what you do as a president early on is you distinguish yourself as much as you can from the previous president of another party. And that's especially true with Trump, as you can see with all of these executive orders. But, we're going back into a world where China is again going to rise for many different reasons, not the least of which is that Joe Biden thinks that China's, a constructive player on the world stage.
And the most special relationship America has, apparently.
Well, it's certainly a special relationship for Biden. Over the years, he's defended him, said things like, come on, these are good people. They're not a threat to us. I hope he doesn't still believe that.
Now, if I could ask you just for a final question, Tim, if you could slip into the mind of Tom Brady for a moment, what advice do you think that this champion might give to the current administration, if afforded the opportunity?
Well, it's interesting that you asked about the current administration, because, of course, Tom Brady, I can tell you, some people say some of the things I write takes courage, but here's real courage, Mark. I'm going to sit here and openly admit that I'm a fan of the New York Jets, which, after a season of 2 wins and 14 losses, is a startling admission to make publicly.
We'll have to end this interview now. I'm sorry, Tim. No Jets fans allowed. Just kidding.
I spent the last 20 years hating Tom Brady with every fiber of my football being. But after a while, he wore me down to a point of grudging admiration, to the point where yesterday I actually rooted for him, which as a Jets fan is almost inconceivable. But because of what he's done, the tie-in with Brady and the current administration is that of all the people that hated Brady, like myself over the years, the numbers grew when it got out that he's a supporter of Donald Trump. So he's got the people that just hate his success, that hate the Patriots because they've been so good. And now he's got the people that hate him because of his association with Donald Trump. But I think his advice to the new administration would be do what Trump did in the sense of thinking big. What can you do with this control of both branches of Congress and the White House that you have? You've got a big opportunity for the next 2 years to do some good things for the American people. Don't blow it. Don't blow it like you did in 2008 and 10, and don't blow it that like the Republicans to a great extent did from 2016 to 18. Consolidate your power and get something done constructive. And you know what? That'll give you greater success than you might ordinarily expect in the midterm elections.
Good advice for all of us, I think. Thank you for joining us, Tim.
Always a pleasure, Mark.
And that's it for this edition of LNTV. Remember to hit Liberty Nation News for original articles, the Uprising podcast, the Rabbit Hole podcast, and our signature television program, The Conservative 5. Just go to libertynation.com on your browser or hit Rumble, YouTube, or check out Liberty Nation's News Roku channel. I'm Mark Angelides. Thanks for watching. This program is a production of libertynation.com. Conservative news where truth matters.
Go deeper on the topic discussed in this video. Head on over to one of these links here or go to our Liberty Nation Roku channel. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for Liberty.